Who threw that? Maggie laughs, sorry Tari. Dusty, still not noticing, continues to write. Passed out at her desk. Tari, Melanie? Melanie, shakes Melanie to wake her up. Stands over them, what do you think you're doing? Picks up the notebook and starts looking through it. Tari looks at the person who picked it up. Wait, what do you think you're doing? Pulls the notebook away. Dusty taps a pen on her desk. Well, this is getting quite interesting. Is this a fight? Tari, hey, give that back. Tari continues to try and get the notebook back. Maggie, Tari, calm down, it's not worth it. Give up, girl. You're not getting your pathetic notebook back, glares harshly at Tari and smirks again. Tari, I will do no such thing. That notebook is very important to me. Continues to try and fight for the notebook. Grabs Tari and throws her against the locker, holding her there with her finger. Quit being so childish over this. You're acting like a spoiled 8-year-old who isn't getting her candy for dessert. Tari is still trying to grab the notebook. Laughs, no. You made this personal now. Squeezes tighter, making Tari's eyes twitch in pain. Look, you're going to give up soon. Why not now? Looks her in the eyes, waiting for a response. Tari has no choice but to give up due to the pain. Tari, fine. Hands the notebook back to her. Tari, I'm not scared of you, Dusty. A faint look of sadness in her eyes along with anger. Still has a cruel smirk on her face, stands up, and looks down on her with all her might. Tari, you do know you're a failure and a loser, right? You could be so much greater than what you are now. Slams the locker door with all force, knocking Tari on her behind. Tears flow out of Tari's eyes, and she tries to get up. Tari, I am not a loser, I, sniffs. Maggie, tears of anger, sadness, and rage come out of her eyes. Tries to hold back the tears and calm down. Maggie, Dusty, how could you? Swallows back her tears and wipes them away. Maggie, why you're mean? Points at Dusty. Tari is still in tears on the ground, and the classroom is quiet in shock. No one has said a word while Tari is crying on the floor and Maggie is furious with Dusty. Dusty shrugs and smiles, picks Tari up by her shirt and looks her in the eyes. See? Look at you? You cried at how I spoke to you. It's pathetic, really. Your emotions control you. It shows in your notebook. I thought you were supposed to be the tough one. Still smiling at Tari as if she was an experiment and as if she was looking at a lower being than her. Tari wipes her tears and looks at Dusty. Screw you, you evil beat //H. Throws her fists with rage at Dusty. As the classroom is silent, no one has said a word, and Tari's fists are inches away from hitting her in the face. And Dusty catches the fist. Wow, so you're the tough and fierce one now? You couldn't even hit me, pathetic. Tari's grip gets loosened by the second, and Dusty looks down at Tari with a slight smirk still on her face, waiting to see what Tari will do next. Tari lets out a scream of rage and bites Dusty's hand. Maggie has her mouth open in shock and is trying to suppress another urge to yell at Dusty again while watching Tari bite. Dusty winces and lets a scream of pain as she flings Tari away from her, and her hand was bleeding while she held the bleeding hand out. WTF, that actually hurt. Dusty was shaking now, while everyone in the classroom was still silent, and while Maggie and Tari were trying to stay calm, and while Maggie was watching Dusty bleed from her bite mark. Dusty tries to keep calm. Maggie, still furious, but has to speak quietly now as they were in a classroom. If it weren't for you bullying Tari and calling her pathetic, then none of this would be happening right now. Points at Dusty. You're a terrible person, Dusty. I hope you're aware of that. Stays quiet but looks on in anger as everyone else watches on in shock. Dusty looks at Maggie with a dead look in her eyes while still holding her bleeding hand. You've got some guts to tell me that. Smiles, then looks towards Tari. Hey there. Smacks Tari on the head. Dusty, stop crying like a scared animal and suck it up, you little kid. The classroom is still silent, and the only noise that can be heard is Dusty laughing manically. Everyone is now staring at Dusty. Tari gets up while still slightly crying. You are such a beat // Dusty. I thought you were meant to be a nice and kind person. Wipes tears from her cheek and faces Dusty, but no. You are nothing but a beat // who thinks she can have anything she wants just by bullying people that are nicer and lower than you. Smirks at her. Well, guess, Dusty, and why is that? Smirks, waiting to hear Tari's response. Tari grits her teeth, because I care too much to give any beat // like you the satisfaction of breaking me. Clenches her fists and face, tears still in her eyes. Maggie, watching in awe and sadness. The whole class is still silent, while waiting to see what Dusty would say to Tari. Dusty laughs at what Tari just said, and gets a wide smirk on her face. Dusty, you are so weak, it's funny. Dusty picks Tari up like a rag doll and tosses her back at her desk. Tari lands hard on the desk back down and looks angry and upset. Shut up. The class is still silent watching in confusion, while Maggie is still annoyed and staring at Dusty. Tari gets up while still fuming with anger, but holds herself back for a moment and glares at Dusty. She starts to speak, but pauses before speaking. Maggie is still watching in awe of what's going on, and smiles at Tari, who is still looking at Desti. Tari, you know, you are a dash, starts to tear up again and clenches her fists. Looks up the classroom at everyone, now tearing up while shaking slightly, a BB dash. Dest cutting off Tari, a what? A BCH? Smirks, picks her up again. Dest, cry harder, child. It only brings me joy to see you like this. Glares at her intensely, with an unfazed look on her face, despite Tari's clear anger and sadness. Tari sniffles, yes, why you are a BCH. Tear rolling down her face as she continues to attempt to get free. Maggie tries to stay quiet, but she wants to say something badly. She watches in awe and sadness as Desti taunts Tari. Tari looks at Maggie. Dest drops her back to her desk. You know, now that I look at you crying to Maggie's help, you look even uglier than normal. It's not surprising that everyone in this school hates you and thinks of you as some sort of animal. Grins wide once again, glares at her with an unfazed look on her face, continues to glare while Tari is looking at Maggie. Tari sniffles and looks even angrier. I hate you so much. She tries to get up from her desk, with so much rage in her face, and grabs Desti by her collar, with the intention of punching her face at the moment. I hate you so much. Maggie has a look of sadness and worry on her face, while also looking down at Desti nervously, and also watching Tari in anger and sadness. Maggie stands up and holds Tari, with the intention to stop her. Tari, wait. Don't do it. It'll only make things worse. Stops Tari's fists before she could punch Desti. Maggie stands in front of Desti while holding Tari's hands to stop them. She looks at Desti with a serious face, looks behind her. Desti smirks while still getting held by Maggie. She tries to pry free, says with an unfazed look in her face, looks at Maggie with a wide grin. Oh come on, she's so pathetic. What are you even protecting? A stupid child? Desti still trying to get free from Maggie, and Tari looking like she wants to punch Desti, Maggie now being the reason she stopped, and all the attention going to the three of them now. Maggie tries even harder to keep Tari's fists away from Desti, has her arms locked on Tari's arms, now facing Desti, glares at Desti with a serious, but angry look on her face, says with a serious tone, she isn't pathetic, she's a strong young woman who is doing her best to pass and get a good future. She only ever cries when necessary and her kindness is amazing. You can't bully her. No one can. So quit being a b//ch and leave her alone. Desti smirks, says in a mocking voice, "S strong, is she? She literally just tried to punch me in the face twice. I'd like to see her try." Desti tries harder to get free from Maggie, to the point where Maggie starts to struggle to hold her down. Maggie starts to get angry and frustrated. See, come on. Stop moving so much. Still holding on to Tari's fists as she's trying to not lose control and yell at Desti. Meg, you know what? I'm done. Stops trying to hold Tari, looks at Tari with a serious look, while still holding her fists, looks back at Desti, puts her fists on her hips, still says with a serious tone, looks at Desti with a serious look in her eyes, Tari, you can do all you want to this beat //ch now. Tari looks at Maggie, then looks at Desti with a huge smirk on her face. Oh really? Maggie nods, and watches with a smirk on her face. Tar looks at Desti with her fist clenched and a confident look on her face, slightly tilts her head and smirks. steps forward with her fist still clenched. The whole class watches on in silence, while Maggie is smiling with excitement at Tari and the others are all on the edge. Maggie watches with all her eyes, while the whole class is holding their breath to see if Tari would punch Dusty or not. Dusty looks at Tari with a cocky look in her eyes. Dest says with a mocking tone, "Come on, hit me. Come on, let's see what you got." Dusty continues to smirk at Tari, while Maggie stands watching, and watches Tari with slight concern and sadness as she might be about to get in trouble, while her friends and classmates watch on with bated breath. Tari stops and clenches her fist even tighter, stares at Dusty with as much hatred she can muster, runs up to her and swings her fist, with all of the anger and strength she has. Dusty catches the fist and holds it firmly, while continuing to smirk with a confident and cocky look in her eyes. Dusty gives a light chuckle, speaks with a mocking tone, slightly shakes the arm Tari is holding. "Come on. Do some more. You're pathetic." Tari looks at Maggie again, says this in a mocking tone, smirk fades away and she's staring at Tari with a serious look, as if she wanted to challenge her again. Everyone is still nervous and tense. I guess that's where the world ends.